Jordan, what brings you here today?
What brings me here is just the protest in order to stand up against U.S. imperialism and tyranny all around the globe, especially in Palestine and Gaza, where we see the United States actively funding and facilitating a genocide against these people in their own homeland.
Yeah. How does that make you feel that the Democrats, the Republicans, and even the independent
candidate
are all pro what's going on in Gaza?
It's absolutely disgusting. It shows me that it's like that they're more beholden to a foreign asset, terrorist, if we're really gonna speak in these terms. They're loyal to a terrorist state that commits atrocities against women and children. They're all happy-go-lucky. They're shaking hands, patting them on the back, giving them whatever money and weapons that they want to give them, all at the behest to try to just continue to feign this we love and stand to support Israel. If this is our greatest ally, we need to find somebody who actually supports the interests of the American people, because what they're doing right now doesn't support anything that the American people stand for.
And why do you think it's happening? Why do you think Israel has such an influence over the government?
We just have to follow the money. We give Israel billions and billions of dollars every single year, and then they turn around and commit these atrocities really at the behest of the United States in order to continue to cause tyranny and strife in the Middle East, so that the people in the Middle East can never actually hold a claim to the resources of the land. It's all about the land and the resources of it. The United States needs a piece of the land in order to continue to loot and proliferate and steal the natural resources of the land and from the people. We not only see it in the Middle East, but we see it all over the world, in the continent of Africa. We see it in Ukraine right now, where they're balkanizing the land and selling it off to the highest bidder. In Ukraine, it's BlackRock. In Israel, I'm sure it's going to be BlackRock or another one of those financial institutions as well. So it's all a money laundering scheme in order to continue to pass money upwards and take money out of the hands of us, the American people, and give it to their cronies on Wall Street.
Great. What do you think's really going on over there?
Like we've seen, even in 2014, the Obama administration and the CIA went in, overthrew the democratically elected government of Ukraine because they didn't want to do business with NATO. They didn't want to join NATO. They wanted to actually have good economic ties with Russia. And the United States said, we can't have that. So they overthrew their democratically elected government, installed a puppet like we see in Zelensky, who allows his own citizens in his own nation to be plundered by the military-industrial complex of the United States and globalists all over the world to continue to be. And then not only they're putting the lives of innocent people in harm's way for profit, which is the most disgusting thing that nation states can do. Put their own people's lives and their own resources at risk for the behest and the fascism to continue to proliferate not only in their society but in the world in general. Like we see, he's banned opposition parties. He's canceled dissent. Anybody who speaks out against Ukraine, you're labeled as a fascist, as this and that, and it's all nothing but conjecture, and it's projection, because everything that they're accusing everybody else of doing for actually calling it out and saying that for what it is, they're projecting how they feel about themselves onto everybody else, just for calling out the atrocities and calling out the indiscriminate killing of innocent Ukrainians for the behest of globalists here in America.
I think it's possible that the United States people have been brainwashed to a point where a majority of Congress is voting for both of these things, waging two wars, killing millions of people. How does it happen?
It happens from a multitude of different things, but a lot of the times we just have to follow the moneyed interest. A lot of these politicians, including Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, and Joe Biden, all take money from the Israeli government, take money from the Ukrainian government. That's what the whole Hunter Biden laptop story was about. Hunter Biden taking bribes from Ukraine and using his pops as a tool to continue to steal money out of the Ukrainian pocket. So if we look at the moneyed interest and we see that all these politicians are bought and paid for by foreign governments, because a lot of these politicians are foreigners. They aren't actual American citizens. They're foreigners. So they come here, get elected by having so much money in their back pocket, and then they turn around and do the bidding of these multinational corporations and foreign governments who they then take money from. So none of these people have the best interests of the American public at heart. And they show it through their actions and their funding every single day.
How do you think we should put an end to this? How do you think we should take our country back?
One of the many ways that we can do that is just by doing what we're doing now, calling it out, speaking up, having a voice, and not allowing anybody or anything to deter us from speaking the truth. Because the truth, as we know, will always set us free. And then another thing, we need to hit them economically. We must stop funding. We must stop putting politicians who take money from these corporations and take money from these billionaires into office, and then we're wondering why they don't do what we want. Because they're not in here for us. They don't work for us. They show us they don't work for us. Another thing we do, like I said, economically, we must hit them in their pocket. We need to stop giving them money. We need to stop going to their rallies. We need to stop voting these people in office. If we continue to economically stabilize their economy, which is held up by a fiat fake currency that they print out of thin air because they have no real resources in their pocket, which is why they can continue, why the big banks can continue to just print money out the wazoo, expanding our debt and not actually paying it back because they have no reason to. They are the regulators. They are the facilitators. So once we break off from that system and we start working in our own communities and building our own system and become self-sufficient and be able to feed ourselves and clothe ourselves and be able to build our own communities to where we can rely on each other and not have to look towards big government and not have to look towards multinational corporations that don't give a fuck about the world around us, that don't give a fuck about our air, that don't give a fuck about our trees, that don't give a fuck about our waterways, that don't give a fuck about our children. We must hold these people accountable at every level. And we must always stand together with each other and become self-sufficient and love not only each other, but also ourselves. Because once we love ourselves, we can then love everybody else around us. Thank you.